So you're coming this way. Tell me what happened.
Northbound on Brook, and I spot a Chevy Caprice parked in over here with a couple of guys in it. It's kind of strange. It doesn't fit the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I grew up here, I worked here, so I know it doesn't fit the neighborhood. I backed up, pulled in, and nose to nose. They started to pull out, and I blocked the driveway. I got out, and the driver approached me, Gordon O'Brien, later to turn out was a big guy, and he says, "Hey, I'm glad you came by, officer. I just blew the radiator hose in my car. You know, look at this garage." And I'm looking at it. There's no puddle. There's no steam. Something wrong with this picture. And I said, "Well, go get your, if you get AAA." He goes, "Oh, I got AAA. We'll get your AAA card, and, you know, we'll get you over to East Side Arco." When he turned around, a pair of handcuffs sticking out of his waistband.
He had handcuffs right on the back of his pants.
Yeah.
So what did you do then?
So at that point, now I hear the vehicle at the corner was a van. I had noted it but didn't attribute anything to it. That starts up, and right away I realize something's up because the guys and the two other passengers, later identified as Mello and Anthony, are looking past me at the van. I pulled my pistol and told them all to put their hands up, and they kept moving all around the vehicle. And radioed in that I needed assistance. And I was suddenly blanked. I didn't know where I was. I was too concerned about them. And eventually, I got through on the radio, and it was about 2 minutes before anybody got here because it was change of shift. A couple of guys from the task force came up, and we took them out. Mello was a problem. He would not get out of the car, and I had to order him at gunpoint to get down on his hands and knees. And he kept looking around, and I finally had to push him down. I thought we were going to have to go with it a little bit. And I stepped back and I said, "You don't do what I'm telling you," because now I see all the police badges, there's jackets and hats that say police in it. There's something wrong with this picture. So right away, I don't know if they got guns or not.
Did they have guns in the end?
No. The information later on from Billy Anthony was that the guns were in the van with Henry in.
So you see police paraphernalia in the car, and he's got handcuffs. Gordon O'Brien has handcuffs on him.
Right.
Ultimately, what were they looking to do?
Well, when we got to the station, it was later revealed that Billy Anthony had been working with another law enforcement agency. Mm-hmm. He admitted that they were here to kidnap Blaze Mafio.
A mob associate.
Correct.
So in a strange way, you might have saved Blaze Mafio's life.
In a strange sort of events, yes.
Yeah. When you pulled up to the car, when you pulled up and Gordon O'Brien got out, and then later you saw Billy Anthony and you saw Timmy Mello, did you know who these players were?
Had no idea who they were. Any of them were. Had no idea. I think now, I thought later on when they showed me the rap sheets on these guys, and the detectives got a lot of joy out of it because when they flipped it open, it went right across the detective squad room. All murderers, all had done time together up at MCI Concord and Walpole. And, as they call it, going to college. They all knew each other. I didn't realize how bad they were, and if I thought about it now, I probably would have, if I'd known who they were, I'd have handled it probably a little bit differently.
How's that waited long? Waited for backup before you...
I'd have waited for backup, sure, but I had no idea who they were. They were all pretty much, Anthony just gotten out of jail, and Mello and O'Brien were from the Taunton, New Bedford, Fall River area. Nobody really knew them over here.
What kind of guy was Gordon O'Brien just physically?
A real big guy, taller than me, heavier than me. He was in somewhat fairly good shape. And when he kept putting his arm around me, he was towering over me, and I said, "Just don't put your hands on me." And he had me by about 100 pounds. And I just wasn't getting the right vibe from him. And, of course, a lot of things were going on. The guys in the car, Mello and Anthony, are moving around in the car, and something's not right. And that's when he turned around, I saw the handcuffs, and I look in the vehicle, and they're putting items underneath the seat, and that's when I saw the baseball hat that said police on it. I'm like, I don't know any of these guys. They're not DEA. I know a lot of DEA guys. They're not DEA. I don't know who they are. There's something wrong. And so the story wasn't making, because no, if they were cops, they would have said, hey, we're on a job.
Right.
It just wasn't jiving.
They weren't on the job.
No.
They were on a different job. What was the police paraphernalia in there? Was it legitimate
handcuffs.
stuff, or was it all fake?
No, it was legitimate items. We tracked them down to a store in Taunton, I believe. They bought them at a uniform store. They had a Bridgewater corrections badge that Mello had.
Any idea how they got that?
No. No.
Now, go back to the van. Tell me again, who was in the van?
Kevin Hanrahan was later revealed was in the van. And I didn't really know. We knew somebody was in there. There was something, because there was a call that was made from the outside. An attorney showed up, and they had not made any phone calls, and I had not requested any attorneys up to that point. So we knew right away there was somebody on the outside there. There was a fourth person. Almost 24 hours later, we learned that Hanrahan was in the vehicle, and he eventually turned himself in. He called in to find out if I was working. I was assigned up to the detectives. He called in, he turned himself in, and was ultimately charged with it.
So Kevin Hanrahan was working with Gordon O'Brien.
Right. The way it was explained to me by Anthony was that they were going to take Blaze Mafia when he left. There was going to be a car stop. They had rigged the siren in the car. They were going to do a car stop as plainclothes detectives. Once they had him, they had duct tape, they had handcuffs, and they were going to put him into the van and take him to Swansea or Seacon and hold him there. And then they were going to make the word was that we were told that they're going to call Frank Salemi and negotiate a deal for money for the return of Blaze.
You didn't know who Gordon O'Brien was, you didn't know who Timmy Mello was,
No.
but did you know who Kevin Hanrahan was?
I did. I knew very well who Kevin Hanrahan was, yeah.
Who was he?
He was a street enforcer, tough guy, legitimate tough guy. Rumors that he had been responsible for several murders. Some of those things are still out there.
Knowing who Kevin Hanrahan was, could you see him trying to pull off a job like this?
Absolutely. Absolutely.